but the Musk experiment at Twitter is being watched closely because, Jim, there is an argument that if he's successful in terms of cutting that many people, what does it say for every other software company? And by the way, Twitter has more needs that are outside of the typical software company, so to speak, because of trust and safety, because of so many other things. But if he's successful in that, does that say that your friend Mr. Benioff should be cutting half its staff at CRM?
I don't think half, but I think that there's probably too many people. I mean, Twitter is maybe a one-off thing in that the people he's firing, many of them. Oh, by the way, some of the people he's firing, people he brought in. I go as far to say that he's demonstrating some erratic behavior.
Well, it's one reason for this chorus of investors in Tesla this morning expressing some frustration with Musk's role at Twitter growing louder. Gary Black, managing partner of the Future Fund, owns roughly $50 million worth of Tesla, tweets Monday, there is no Tesla CEO today. He followed up with, I have the utmost respect for Elon Musk as a manager, leader, and visionary. Just wish he'd hire someone to fix Twitter and focus on Tesla as CEO. Musk trying to address those concerns, tweeting Tesla will be great long-term, but doesn't control macroeconomic tides. Later adding, I will make sure Tesla shareholders benefit from Twitter long-term. Tesla stock down, actually the drawdown, Jim, almost 61%. That's going to be the biggest in history.
I know, and Gary Black is a very serious manager, and he was always a very serious analyst. So, I mean, he's not a guy. He's a guy, David, he's not what I would call a Yahoo.
No, not at all.
He's really
not at all.
So
and his concerns are obviously echoed by many others. Listen, I mean, you can make an argument that both the Tesla and SpaceX, there's a product roadmap that they're on, and that whether Elon is in the building or not is not going to impact the plan that they have. At the same time, we've talked a great deal about the distraction this is introducing. But guys, I also wonder about whether he's ostracizing certain potential Tesla customers with his continued tweets and statements coming, why would you try to ostracize any of your potential customers?
How about Twitter? I mean, there are people who wanted to put ads with Twitter who are now thinking, geez, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is not a good idea. Look, I was speaking with someone late last night who just said, why aren't you more focused on the crumbling aspects of this man? And I said, because I've had too much faith in him, but maybe it's too late to be as faithful.
Well, today Morgan Stanley says the brakes are screeching on EV demand, and Jonas revises down his long-term EV penetration forecast for fiscal year 30. At the same time, Jim, he does make Tesla a top pick for next year because, in his words, they're the only company able to sell EVs at ICE-like margins.
Well, look, can we just get Farley on the phone, please? Because Farley would tell you that's from Ford, totally untrue. Now, Adam Jonas has erratic, no, thematic. But the idea that you can say this and Farley could call right now and tell you this is completely untrue is bothersome to me.
Right.
Ford just added a third shift as of yesterday on their F-150.
Motor Trend car.
Truck of the year.
I mean, but when you speak to, over and over again, Jim has said we're making a lot of money per everything we make. Now, why is that ignored by Mr. I had to sell on Ford the whole time Jonas? Now, it did go up to 23, and he reiterated sell at every step, and he went home. But I just think that it's unfair.
It also goes to the larger argument that there is more competition. That competition is building every day, and that's going to make the world a bit of a different place for Tesla.
The number of cars and trucks that Farley's talking about building. I mean, you're talking about 500,000. Mary Barra.
All right. That said, I mean, we got Goldman Sachs, which is lowering its estimates in terms of how many vehicle deliveries Tesla will have. 420,000 in the fourth quarter. 440,000 had been the prior estimate.
They lowered one of your old favorites.
And 1.85 million units in 2023 from 1.95.
Right. I know that's more, but you see they lowered the boom one?
Yeah, they were at 305. They go to 235. Right? Is it a new PE-based target? I wasn't clear.
No, but one of David's absolute favorites just gets savaged in that report. QuantumScape, 8 to 5.
QuantumScape.
You put him on the map, and then you took him off the map.
We had an interview with him 2.5 years ago. I think you and I were.
And you took
it was back when we were 40 feet away from each other in the headquarters in Englewood.
We were trying to give each other COVID. They wouldn't let us.
And but I do one interview with the guy, and he's my guy forever.